Hello and welcome to another live stream. I think we're live here. So today I'm going to talk about guitar, improvisation, chords, and whatever you like to discuss. I'll talk about some things that I released recently here, and we'll make this our Sunday routine. So join me each Sunday. Time of day may vary, but generally 11 o'clock. So pick up your guitar or not and join me here. So I released a couple of videos this past week. I released a video which kind of sets up the melody video, chord melody video on Magna de Carnaval or Black Orpheus. Hello, Eric. Welcome. And so we had some little motion things happening there, and that's something that you can do just to create that separation between the melody and the chords. So at times, of course, we play melody and the chord together. Okay, and then other times, we may want to separate those out and also maybe dig in a little bit to the melody more so than the chord. All right, so Eric's on the exercise bike. That's awesome. Very cool. So, that's an interesting thing too, is that visualizing the instrument while you're not actively on it is a great activity. Sometimes I'll just kind of have a little rehearsal, so to speak, before recording, or generally maybe the night before, the day before recording. And I'll go through, mentally some shapes, visualizing the fingerboard and the sound of it. So if you're doing a light exercise, that might work. Another thing with the podcast, that's another thing you might do if you're away from the instrument, is to actually, try to visualize some of the things that I'm talking about. If you check out the podcast and use it for some general ear training. So we had Magna de Carnaval. So maybe I'll do a little improvisation while we're getting started here. I had a comment recently requesting that I maybe play and then talk a little bit about what I was maybe doing in the example. So perhaps I'll do a little bit of that. I'll play through a chorus of Magna de Carnaval and talk a little bit about that. I'm going to mute my microphone during this portion of things. Okay, so they're talking, or not talking, but thinking and playing, or whatever you want to call it, exploring maybe some concepts there on chords, inversions of chords, and that's another way to create movement during your soloing or chord melody soloing versus chord melody playing. So in that video I released, I think it was last Wednesday, I talked about some of these movements to explore, and then I included those in the chord melody. Now, if you're playing chord melody soloing, then you may explore different inversions of chords. A minor, A minor, A minor, A minor, or A minor 7, and play around with different color options on those to create some interest and take things a little, make the chords sound a little more colorful and all that. Okay, Eric said, I took a quick break to comment, but right hand and pick sound is so critical. I love how the sound in your playing. Okay, thank you. Think Kenny Burrell is someone I think of with how they use the pick. Yeah, it is really a critical thing. I mean, it's where at least a lot of the sound is generated, right? But we do, of course, have techniques on hammering, pull-offs, and slide, so that can be in combination with the pick. Another issue there is, hey Chris, how's it going? Hi, I just saw, I didn't watch the video, but I just saw your video post. I think it was this morning on deliberate practice on Crimea River, I believe. So awesome to see that. Good morning. So yeah, the pick and how to pick, and now here's a little tip for you too when you're practicing scales and so on, and you're working on the feel and everything. If you're playing scales, try developing a strong up pick direction. That will really help your improv lines. So you say you have a C major scale. So let's say you play really nice and even. Nice and even volume. So you want to have the control to do that. And then try going with a heavier up pick. Let's say you're doing alternate picking. So you go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And then see if you can move into the more bebop, or just add one chromatic tone. We'll do that between the 5 and the 6 of that scale, and listen to how that sounds. And then the ear, just having that one little note choice, and then the accents on the end of the beat. The ear starts to hear, the listener starts to hear these tones as being significant, right? And then that leads the ear to hear the chord. Let's say 6. So that's a little tip for you. Try to accent the ends of the beats. Right, and that'll really kind of pull in those nice things. So the upstroke tends to be generally weaker, I would say. So that could take a little development, right, to work at. So Got Rai, welcome. Hello. Rai says, I'm having trouble improving my improvisation on a jazz tune I've learned. I can learn the head and the chord progression, but I'm not sure how to approach improvisation. I'm curious to know what tune you're working on. Could you provide some professional guidance? Also, recommend some etudes and resources that can improve my improvisational skills. So yeah, let's start with improvisation. Hey, good morning, Jeffrey. One of the first things to do, is listen to a recording of the tune that you're working on and listen to the improvisation sections. If you're strong on the chords and you're strong on the head or the melody, listen, focus in on a chorus and see if you can grab some notes that maybe sound even significant on, you don't have to even do it note by note. I mean, that's definitely a good practice for transcription, but listen, where are they going on a certain chord? Like, what note are they kind of leaning towards there? Another thing is to take a backing track and think in key and play some tones and feel, feel where things move, so the with harmony and changes, the kind of ground shifts under your feet a little, so this note sounds consonant and then it sounds dissonant. So maybe move here in your key, move here over here in your key, and start with this, really the essentials of sound, right? So so this it's a little bit like a stream and the current, it takes a little bit this way, a little bit this way, but I would get into that, before getting into all of the kind of theory, which you want to go down that road, but do that, get into the key signatures, and really evaluate whether a chord is in the diatonic key or if it's outside of it, so. And if it's inside, what are the consonances and dissonances? So that's really all like kind of tension and release and everything. All right. Chris says, taking classes with Jim, I improved a lot understanding how to approach improv, and it hasn't even been 3 months since I took lessons. Cheers. Awesome. Thanks for the shout out on that, Chris. I really appreciate it. And yeah, you're doing great. I'll mention too that I've got a website, fretprince.com, and we're going to be releasing very soon on that. And I've got some really, really great exercises which are intended to help you move through different levels of difficulty gradually, using sound slice and some really carefully curated exercises. I just finished a whole group of exercises on improvising to specific rhythms. So where you would have to play, you choose your notes, you improvise the notes, but you don't improvise the rhythm. So you're worked with a rhythm and everything. Chris says, looking forward to the website. Thanks. Yeah, and it's really soon. It may even be Monday. If all goes well, I am behind schedule, intended for shooting for February 1st, but yeah. But with improvisation, I would encourage folks that just try a note. Yeah, try to play something on a chord and get it in your ear what it sounds like, how it interacts. So and I've really been thinking a lot about how improvisation and folks talk about it on the internet, how folks what questions are asked and things like that, and really like to emphasize that, and I think I mentioned a little bit of this on the most recent podcast, to really start with foundational things like key center, right? If we're, let's say, improvising on Magna de Carnaval, we're thinking about key of no sharps, no flats, and working through a lot of the chords are really diatonic. Minor's a little bit challenging because we may have we have to adapt things a little bit. So when I'm playing this E7, right, this G sharp is not in the key signature, right? So in minor, we make that change so that we can get this to resolve, right, into place. Okay, I'll do a little more improvisation here, and maybe I'll do a little more single line this time, and then I'll discuss a little bit about what I'm doing. And again, I'll mute my microphone. Okay, so, and this is a really great exercise to play, primarily single note lines and direct the listener or yourself through the progression. And really, it comes down to awareness of consonants and dissonance on the tones. So I'd recommend really taking the perspective of the awareness, and not rather than saying I've got to play an arpeggio here and then an arpeggio here. which works. But trying to think, okay, well, if I land on the F chord, so let's say I have the F chord, and I play D, right? It's gonna feel like maybe a slight tension, right? And then resolve, to the fifth. So really trying to keep in mind that harmony and the changes. So we have the key center, we have a collection of tones, that we're working with, right? And then we have motions that may go outside of that, like the E7, right, where we may, right, and then we're snap right back into our key signature or whatever flavor we want on things. All right, Jeffrey asks, can you explain 3-1-3 scale on single string? Let me see. I'm not sure I understand. So can you explain 3-1-3 scale on a single string? I'm not sure what 3-1-3 is referring to. Maybe I'm still asleep a little bit, but I've been up since 6, so it shouldn't be. All right. Well, maybe I'll start by doing a major scale on a single string, which you could do a C major scale on string 2. So I don't know if you might be able to rephrase that, or let me look that up, or maybe that's just something I'm not. Scale. Six is, yeah, 6 is a little early. 3-1-3 concept pentatonics, 3-1-3 patterns. Okay. This time we'll look at another ascending, descending pattern. Dweezil Zappa. This looks cool. Okay. Let's see. That's 3-1-3 triplets. 3-1-3 patterns. I can't say that I know this. I'll have to see what this is all about. 3-1-3 concept. Interesting. You'll have to maybe fill me in on that. I'll have to do some more investigation. But playing on a single string can be really very very helpful, because on guitar, it's when you cross over strings, it's not a very sort of intuitive linear thing. You really kind of have to study those notes and everything. But we do have like 6 linear instruments, so to speak, on the guitar. So they're kind of, of course, 6 strings and 6 lines. So you can really study, the whole steps and the half steps. measure scale, learn your tones, and then work at, playing parallel to that, and maybe really getting inside at what, say, mixolydian can sound like, and going through various scales and things. All right. All right, well, I'll do a little more playing here, but yeah, I'm really curious about that 3-1-3, so I'm not familiar with that one. I'll do a little more playing. Okay. So yeah, Eric. Interested in scales, modes, intervals, and sounds in general. Can you show the opening to Bright Size Life? Yeah, how does that go? Yeah, so we've got so we've got this droning D here, and then we work through all that. And just kind of work down to the D here. So see if I can kind of recall that. So we could think about, your intervals here. We have some pretty big intervals, right? We have D to D1 octave, and then a perfect fifth. So you're going to get a very consonant, right, sound. Right, and then we go to this very dissonant interval here. So perfect fifth to diminished fifth interval, all over a droning D. Okay, and then interesting how the intervals, and hopefully I'll recall this accurately, but it kind of, you can also think about the motions, not only the harmonic intervals, but the intervals where it moves, right? So we have it kind of pushes out, right? And then we do have this kind of just slow motion down hill there. So that's not right. I can't remember how it goes. So yeah, so we've got that. So got a little bit stumped on that, but okay, we've got this another diminished fifth here. But he doesn't play quite that, so got lots of fifths, perfect fifths, diminished. So what is this interval? So we have sixth, perfect fifth again, and then we get this kind of suggesting the A7 back to the D. So sorry, I don't recall that line. I've played it a bunch of times, but it's been a while. So let's see, modes and intervals, sounds in general, the opening. I think that's what you mean, maybe that part, but also, yeah, we have the perfect fifths. So you go up, perfect fifth, perfect fifth. Okay, you can also think about the intervals in between. So this goes down a whole step, down a whole step. Right. So those are the fifths. So in that tune, he explores a lot of different intervals, and he that relate to fifths and diminished fifths. And actually, I think he changed one of the notes from the original recording, which I think he plays something like, right? I think he changed that too. It's a little slightly different. So it has a lot to do, I would think, with fifths, and then a lot of the chords. I do have a chord analysis on this on the channel, which I think you find probably pretty useful there. But a lot of fifths on that one, and it seemed like he was exploring a lot, because there's other tunes where he did other intervals, like more major sevens. So he was going with maybe some thematic kind of materials there. What kind of piece is Mañana Carnival? So that is going to be a bossa nova type of tune, Latin, kind of feel to it. But as far as the chords go, it's really interesting on the Bright Size Life, how the chords change. So you want to think a lot in terms of slash chords. So you can think about, let's see, different inversions or slash. So like, let's say you have B flat major and you put it over an A. So you can kind of think in terms of B flat major 7, right? And then think about the putting the A above the B flat. So, and then also the D, where you get that kind of sound, and then B flat. So he was playing around a lot there with, maybe I shouldn't say playing around with it, but he was kind of working with a different concept in composition with the chords, because you can put these different bass lines, and you're mixing different concepts too, of different taking sevenths and then not using sevenths, or using them in a different way, right? So to that point, Mañana Carnival, it being kind of a Latin, maybe we'll call it Latin jazz, you have the core element is that 3 and the 7 that just kind of moves in that sort of fashion, right? Whereas on Bright Side's Life, you've got more like just straight ahead triads. But using the major 7s in a different way. So we've got a major 7 here on the bottom, and then the triad above it. Other areas on that where we play this kind of motion over the A on the bridge. So we've got F over A, G over A. Okay, and then we go into A later on, where you can explore a lot. Really, you can get very outside and do different things, but one area, try some diminished type kind of language on that. So let's see, we've got you can also put G. So you just kind of make these little motions. So you probably have heard a lot about triad pairs. So if you have G and F, right, those are kind of triad pairs. So you can use that in your improvisation as well as comping to move and play arpeggios. All right, so I'm gonna hang out for another 5 minutes here, and thanks for checking this out. Hope everybody has enjoyed this talk. So Eric says focusing on the lead interval part. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I would try to work out all those intervals. I do plan to redo that video, so maybe I'll do that soon. I think my next video is already picked out. I think I'm gonna do Benny Golson tune. Another thing that's kind of interesting, so I think on the first time he plays, and then so you can play these sixths. Below that melody line. So that's another little area that you can focus on. So a little harmonic kind of thing that goes on there. So here, you know, the intervals here, I'm just kind of thinking back to the bridge. Again, he later performances, he changes, I think, some of these notes, but or just one of these notes. Instead of this note, he plays this note. So we have a major 7. Okay, and then right. And then later on he gets into really kind of different than your typical intervals. It's funny, I came across a post on Facebook where they were saying, you know, how often or never like these different intervals happen. And yeah, it's, you know, it's true to an extent that, you know, the half step, whole step, major third, minor third, those are used a whole lot, and fourths. And so, okay. Eric says he looks forward to it. I'll look at the one that is there as well. Yeah, so I've got a couple videos on that. The one I think is really helpful is the chord video for like for playing chords, but you're doing more of the melody. So check it out. The drum sound is not great, admittedly, and so hopefully do an updated version of that one. Now that I've got my production up a little bit more. But yeah, it's a great study, and it's a pretty challenging tune to play. All right, everybody. Well, I'm gonna call it a day here in a minute. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and yeah, check out the member area on YouTube, as well as new website, footprints.com, with exercises and all of that. And I will see you all in the next one of a really good practice session. Thanks, Chris. Have a great day. Glad you enjoyed it. Thanks again. I'll see you all in the next one.